I even found a picture of a cat that somebody dyed yellow to look like Pikachu with the ear tips like black.
Oh my God.
I know. Why?
Why?
Go get
Just get
yourself a
yourself a
stuffy.
stuffed toy. Doom, doo doom, doom, doom.
Doom, doom, boom. Let's snoots, snoots, boom. Let's snoot. Welcome to Let's Boop Snoots. I'm Heidi,
I'm Vero.
and we are going to boop some snoots today. It's a musical day again. So we had talked last week on the show about some manners that we needed to brush up on with our doggos. So we're going to touch briefly on that. And then today's episode, we're going to talk mostly about dog bod mods.
Dog bod what?
Dog body modifications, the ear
Mm-hmm.
cropping, the tail docking, and more.
Ooh.
So, on that note, how did your week go with Ralph Aroni?
It went well.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ralph was tired from his weekend, so that helped.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Ooh. So I did some training with Ralph with place.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did this week was put Ralph in place on
Mm-hmm.
his elevated bed.
Yeah.
And then the way that my house is, there's like a section where I can go around and I'm kind of out of view. And then
Yeah.
I come back into view on the other side. So I did that a couple of times and Ralph stayed in place. And then the next thing I did was walk to the door and then come back, give him a treat.
Did you have leash on or leash off for this?
Leash off.
Okay.
Um, and then I opened the door, closed the door, and then gave him a treat.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I went outside, closed the door, and knocked, he would jump off his bed.
Ah.
So I'd come back in and I'd go, Ralph, no, and I'd kind of grab his collar and bring him back.
Yeah.
And then I'd do it again. And it took about 3-4 times, and then he got it.
Nice.
Close the door, knock, wait, come back in, and he was still waiting.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. And then we also worked on our recall today.
Noise.
So I went to the park with a ball and threw the ball, made it very exciting for him to come back to me by like running and looking like I'm crazy. And then I would give him a treat. I'd be like, bring it back.
Nice.
And then he would drop the ball, sit, and I would give him a treat.
So, have you noticed like differences in him? Like, is he listening to you a bit better? Is it that like you fell kind of behind on practicing some of these things and so he was getting a little
Yeah, he's getting a
high
little bit of
energy?
a rebel.
Mm,
So far, I don't really see a difference,
mm.
but hopefully within the next couple of weeks.
Youngs.
Yeah.
What I did with Lou, for anybody who wasn't tuning in before, Lou is our new Weimaraner that we got. She's settling in, and as she's been getting more and more comfortable, more and more of her behaviors have been coming out. And I was a little worried that it was separation anxiety because of like certain behaviors. And so I started watching, like I mentioned last week, videos on solid canine training on separation anxiety and stuff like that. And I think no matter what you think the issues might be with your dog, there's never any harm in doing like dog training with them on the daily. It keeps them engaged with you, it keeps them mentally exercised and listening to your every word. Which they should be. But anyway, so Lou was like counter surfing. She was like being a little bit destructive, like in the house, like when we left her alone. I was debating the crate training thing, and I still am, because some of the destructive behaviors did not stop despite our best efforts this week. So we shall see. Stay tuned for that. But I had a really good week with her, and I think it I do notice a bit more of a difference. Like, she listens to me the first time. So my problem with Lou wasn't that she was a high energy dog, but after talking to um, Michelle from Canines in the Capital, She did not think it was separation anxiety. She thought it was more like nervous energy and stuff like that from what I was describing. And that she agreed. Like, again, I talked about the Easter weekend that we had together where we took Lou up to the cottage for the first time. And then we had all these people over for dinner, and I sort of forgot because of the circumstances of everything. I sort of, the dog was an afterthought in that situation, and she ended up nipping one of my kids, which we do not want. And she just agreed that it was like a total, like, just over, she's overstimulated, and that we need to keep things calm and that sort of thing. So we had a big family discussion about it, about being more calm around her. And my husband and I created more rules around like physical touch and like joining us on the couch and those sort of things. And so that required me this whole week. Um, I started off with working on place. So I have the opposite problem with her. Once I put her in place, she'll stay there forever. Like she'll stay so like pretty good. Like she'll stay there for a good hour before she tries to come off. Or there's certain things that might trigger her where she like is comes off, and I just say no and I walk her back, and then she'll stay there again for like another hour. But it was the initial getting her to go there. And I thought it was like fear because she was shaking and she was like laying down and giving me her paw and like everything, like so
Hmm.
I had the leash on her, so I don't know if it was that too, like she was just like, oh god, like she means business, like I don't know. But so and Michelle just advised me, no, just like if you can't get her to go there, then you need to practice it. Like she's like, I know it sounds crazy, but like 50 times, and move your place around. So I have one dog bed in one room, one dog bed in the other, and it's just trying to get the dog to go to whatever physical spot you want them to go to and stay at. So I had her on the leash, and I would walk her into one room and get her to sit, and then I would say, Lou, place, and then I would walk her over there, and when she was sitting there, then leave her there for a bit. So pre talking to Michelle, I would like leave her there, but she was really good at staying there. But it was just like, so she said, so don't leave her there forever. Like just on and off, place, place, place until she gets it. And you're asking her to do this. And she said that the shaking and looking like she's scared or whatever, she said that's just like the nervous energy that I'm talking about and the overstimulus like of it all. So she's like, just guide her. So again, like guide her a little bit with the leash, or step into her, or do any of that. So I started doing a lot of that with her, and she really did pick it up like quite nicely. So she's done
Good.
really nice. When I point and say Lou place, she goes now, and then she stays there for long periods of time. And this, even this afternoon, I had, because Gibbon too, sort of, because we haven't worked with him in a while, because he's pretty good at this stuff, but he was more quick to get off place than she was. And I was like, Gibbon, no. And like, anyway, so this afternoon I was like sweeping and mopping the floors and had them in place the whole time and making them stay there, and it went really well. And the one thing that surprised me is we let our dogs in our bed with us, so whenever we go upstairs to bed for the night, like Lou just walks in, jumps right on the bed right away. So I was no longer letting her do that, and I'd make her sit, like we just got like um a big blanket and folded it like into like the size of a dog bed in our room. And I went up and just was like, no, Lou place, and she went into it, and she didn't come off, which I couldn't believe.
Nice.
So I was like, yes, like good. Like she's transferring like the knowledge, to like other places. And I made her stay there for a while and then invited her up onto the bed. And she was just like, oh, thank God. It is,
Good
it's,
for her.
you can see how it's hard for people, right? Because people like definitely like they're just sitting there, and she's just laying there, and she's so cute, and she's like looking like at first, like when we were keeping her in place while we're sitting on the couch in the evening watching a show, where typically she would be up snuggling and cuddling with us, she's sitting on the bed and just staring us down with this like desperate look. She's like, I should be with you right now. And it's hard.
Aw.
It is, it's tough. Like dog training is tough on like the, I would say the owners more so the dog, because at least the dog
Yeah.
forgets about it after a while.
They get
But
a
like,
treat and they're like, ah,
yay. Or they get to
yay.
like, come and snuggle with you, and they're like, yes, finally, this is how it should be. And then, but I can see how, like, I know from talking to Michelle, and I'm sure if we talk to other dog trainers too, is it's like getting owners to do that type of stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
using your affection sort of as an award, as a reward. That's one of the toughest things to ask an owner to do,
It
because
is.
we all think like our dogs are just the cutest, and it's so hard not to just go up to them and grab their ears and go like, but
I
what's
don't do that. I do it all the time.
I do it with any dog I see. No, I don't. I want to, but I know not to, because I know it's not good for them, and I know it's especially not good for Lou. So even with Lou, I took Michelle's advice into him, but also kept the advice that I watched from Solid Canine as well. And that I didn't like, and I was telling my husband this too, not to use a lot of that. If it's a nervous energy type of dog, you can't do the good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, like, because
Yeah.
it's you're making things worse. So like when she would execute place, I'd go good, like that's it,
Yeah.
and there was no food involved, and there was like none of this like super praise or a lot of like I wouldn't pet her, touch her, or anything. It was very like straight, direct, forward. We're doing business here, girl. And was it tough? Yes, but she's coming along really well, and I think that if we keep at it, and even just like simple things like opening the back door to let them outside, I was making them sit, wait,
Mm-hmm.
then letting them go, and just like all these little things that don't take as long as if you're like when you first get a puppy and you're having to train like every single day for months and months and months and months and months and
Yeah.
months. But like I mentioned, and Solid Canine recommends that dog training is not anything that should ever stop anyways. Like you should be constantly practicing, and it should be a
Mm-hmm.
24/7 365 kind of thing. And that's like obvious with Gibbon too, right? Because he's been like behaving a little badly with a little bad behavior girl like around too. So it's good for both of my dogs, and I'm happy with the way that it's going. And we still got some work cut out for us, but it's been going very well.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Ralph is the
Yes.
cutest when I open the door and he's outside. And I just
Mm-hmm.
open it like a little crack and I'm like, sit. And then he sits and I open the door and he's just sitting there looking at me, waiting for me to be like, free.
Yeah.
Just like with the head
Head
tilt.
tilt. Oh my
And I'm just like,
god.
oh, just like stare at him. I'm like, okay, free.
I know. Oh my god, it's so hard.
I always go like, well, hello, mister.
Well,
What are you here
hello.
for?
What a distinguished gentleman.
Are you here with Girl Guide cookies?
So freaking cute. They're so
So
freaking
cute.
cute. So cute. So cute.
Yes. So more training to do this week. We'll get
Yep.
there.
Yes, we will.
We will get there.
Keep up the good work. Keep up the good
Yes.
fight
Yes.
and dog training.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Vero had brought up last week, and it's a very interesting topic. Like even as Vero and I were talking about it, like amongst ourselves, coffee talk amongst yourselves. We're talking about the body modifications for dogs, right? So it is a controversial topic. I even find myself an inner conflict talking about it.
Yeah.
But what did you find out about it, Vero?
Well, I found two. I think there's really only two body modifications for dog. Although, if you do Google image body modification dogs, there are many weird pictures that will pop up, like furless dogs that have tattoos and
Mm-hmm.
dogs with piercings and
Mm-hmm.
just really like
Weird stuff.
weird stuff. Weird stuff, I say.
I even found a picture of a cat that somebody dyed yellow to look like Pikachu with the ear tips like black.
Oh my God.
I know. Why?
Why?
Go get
Just get
yourself a
yourself a
stuffy.
stuffed toy. Oh my
Glad
God.
glad we're on the same page there. Pikachu. All right,
Pikachu.
sorry. Continue.
So, cropping and docking are the most popular dog bod mods. So, cropping is a removal of part or all of the external flaps of an animal's ear, and we see it most often on dogs. So I think the Great Dane is probably the best example. You'll either see a Great Dane with like the floppy ears, like kind of like a Labrador Retriever, and sometimes you'll see a Great Dane with the pointy ears. So if they have the pointy ears, their ears have been cropped, and that's usually done with ciseaux
Oh my
under
god.
anesthesia.
Hmm.
I've also read online that they can actually twist them off
Oh
when
my
they are
god.
newborns,
Ooh.
and that means that you have a no external ear. That I am against.
Yes.
That I'm against. Um, Most of the time, cropping, well, nowadays is for more cosmetic reasons. In the past, ears were cropped for if it was like kind of like a working or fighting dog, so that nothing grabs hold of the ears. But then again, I'm reading this, and could they not still grab hold of the ears?
I like this is what I
Kind
don't
of
know.
like herding dogs,
Yeah.
hunting dogs, to decrease the risk of health complications such as ear infections or hematomas. So yeah, I mean, that's I don't understand this one. If that was the reason for cropping ears, unless your ears are extremely short,
Yeah.
then I think you can still grab hold of them, but maybe not as easily.
Yeah. I remember we talked briefly about this like a long time ago on an episode, and we talked about the reasons why like people do this, and the reasons like are sometimes make sense, but like sometimes they don't. And I think in these days, with the amount of dog owners that there are out there and the reasons they're getting them from, that when you think about the reasons why they're modifying their bodies, it's like no longer relevant.
No.
I would say, like, so for an example, like you said, like with the ear cropping, I can remember when we did an episode on this that, like, for like Dobermans is another very popular breed that they do this with, and that
Mm-hmm.
Dobermans are usually used as security animals or guard dogs or whatever, and that they're like scaling fences or climbing underneath them, and it's so their ears don't tear on that on chain linked fences or crawling into different places or going through doors and stuff like this, and that's why their tails are docked as well. But um, the amount of people that are actually having Dobermans for those reasons is probably a very small amount of people. Yet
Mm-hmm.
the majority of Dobermans that I see have the cropped ears.
Yeah.
So it's I think there's two reasons like for all of these dog bod mods. It's just fun to say. It's just fun to say. Um, And I think one is like breed standard, which is getting like fought against by organizations such as PETA.
Yes.
Oh, PETA. And and stuff like that. But
That if they don't have the ears cropped, then they don't meet breed standards and cannot compete. Same
yeah,
for the tails.
yeah, and I wonder if it's like that in the States, cuz like I found a very brief article I was mentioning to Vero earlier that stated that in Europe um they've banned all dog bod mods.
Yeah.
And that they won't let you compete in dog shows if your dog has been modified. Whereas in Canada, they haven't banned dog bod mods, but they will still let you compete if with a dog that has not been modified in that. But I wonder, like it still is an interesting topic, and you'd want to like ask some of the judges and stuff, because I wonder if it like sort of biases them a little bit, because if for years you've been like judging like a breed of animal. Like I'd be curious to know if a dog has ever won a show that is part of a breed that normally has been modified but isn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could argue that it's a judge's bias.
Could be. So here it says legal status by country.
Hmm.
It's mostly all banned.
And now,
Canada,
are you talking about ears or tails or both?
ears.
Ears. Okay.
There's some, yeah, there's some that mention tails here, but this is for ear cropping.
Hmm.
Canada has no federal law banning pet cosmetic surgery. Two provinces has provincial legislation prohibiting ear cropping, tail docking, and most cosmetic surgeries. And those two provinces are Prince Edward Island and Newfoundland and Labrador. Three provinces, veterinary associations ban all veterinarian from performing cosmetic surgeries on pets in New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Quebec. And three provincial veterinary associations have bans on ear cropping alone in Manitoba, British Columbia, and Saskatchewan. So nothing for Ontario.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it
Da, da,
does speak.
da.
Dun dun dun.
United States, unrestricted. Some states, including New York and Vermont, have considered bills to make the practice illegal. Yeah. So there's actually three different kinds, four different kinds of ear cropping styles.
Hmm.
So there's the long ear crop, which you'll see on Great Danes and Dobermans. The medium crop, which is that like the little pointy bit, is not there anymore.
Hmm.
There's the short crop, which you'll usually see on Mastiffs.
Hmm.
And then there's the rounded crop, which the dog actually looks like a little bear, little cub.
Aw.
It's
Aw.
kind of cute, but
Okay,
not natural.
so just for fun, I just like Googled Weimaraners with cropped ears to see if, because I wonder if people try to do it on dogs that don't typically have it. And a Weimaraner with cropped ears, by the way, everybody looks ridiculous.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh my God. That's terrible.
Should we look at the golden retriever?
Do you think that, like, why would you do that? But, and it was like, it again. So I have to say, like, earlier this year when we were talking, did
So
you?
there's a picture, and the owners are holding the ears up. There we go.
Okay, I'm
That's too
Googling it
funny.
right now because I have to look at it. I know somebody did.
Aw, there's a golden retriever with one ear
I know the
on the top of.
unicorn.
Oh,
Yes, I saw. I remember seeing him.
but there's the one that has the tail in the middle of the forehead too. Have you seen
Yes.
that one?
Yes. Yes,
Hmm.
I have. I have. Um, so yeah, earlier in the year when we were looking at different dogs to get, and if anyone tuned in and remembered me talking about getting a Cane Corso, or as some people say, Cane Corso, I often thought like, and it was the same with my Weimaraners too, because they said that they dock the tails, and I remember like when we first went to get our Weimaraners, I was like, oh, I wonder if they're going to take the tails off or not, and they do because they have a private veterinarian. But I think more and more veterinarians are refusing to do these procedures because it's slowly not becoming banned yet. I think eventually it will be. That seems to be the direction it's moving in. And
Yeah.
but I but currently, like, one thing that I read repeatedly while looking this up for this show was that it's becoming not recommended by the various veterinary associations. So all the veterinary like associations are being like, we're not recommending you do this, we're not recommending you do this, we're not recommending you do this. So going back to what I was saying before, when I remember that was the first time I really thought about it. Like, why are they docking the tails? And I remember one of my friends who had a German short haired pointer said, because they're hunting dogs and they can get tail breaks. So
Hmm.
I've had three dogs now, well, four dogs now, if you count it, Lou. And only two of them have docked tails. The other two, Becky and Scraps, had full tails. Now, mind you, they were dogs with fur, so maybe they had the extra padding. But we have a cottage where I can tell you with 100% honesty, they're running through the forest nonstop.
Yeah.
Like Scraps would run like crazy, Becky would run like crazy, and not once did they ever have a tail break or anything like that. And I am not using my dogs for hunting. I am not using Gibbon and Lou, my Weimaraners, for hunting purposes. But we go to the cottage. So like n- I never had any tail issues. And now again, whether that's because they had the extra padding with the fur on top, whereas a Weimaraner you wouldn't, and it is like, and I can remember one of my friends with the GSP saying that he had known somebody with a German short haired pointer that didn't have a docked tail. And he said they're like, it's not like the average dog tail. Like it is like a whip. Like it's so like
Yeah.
firm and more, it's not like a
It's
tail that's
thin.
just, yes, it's thin and it's like hard. So it's like what it will take down everything on a table, like walking past and stuff. It's not, you don't have that sort of give with, the dogs with the more floofy tails and stuff like that. So, like, knowing what the Weimaranner's body is like and knowing that again, but because it's every time I try to rationalize the reasons why I'm happy I have a dog with a dock tail, it seems like very shallow and like selfish reasons. And, I said to Vera when I first Googled this and you saw those images come up with the people who are tattooing like their animals and piercing them. I was like, "Oh my god, like who would do that?" But yet here I am, like dogs with dock tails. And again, if I was going to go ahead and get that Cane Corso, I probably would have got the cropped ears cuz it's offered when they're puppies.
Yeah.
But I even heard like a personal story from somebody once who got had a Cane Corso and that they got infection from the surgery and that it was like ongoing issue, like the ears, and they ended up having to debride them down till almost like they almost had like no ears at all.
Oh.
And she said like, what, like, and this person was telling me this and they're like, why would you do that? Like there's no need to do that. And I was thinking like, oh god, I know, but it kind of like that's how they're supposed to look. But again, shallow it's such a shallow reason. And even like with the tails, like it being like, well, it's convenient because I don't have a tail that's gonna, like, I can have drinks on the table like while I'm watching TV and not worry about a dog's tail knocking them over. Like
But like
it's just,
imagine a Weimaraner tail, like a happy Weimaraner tail while you're
oh, I
standing beside it.
I know.
Ayoy.
Ay yoy. It is. It would be like definitely like brutal. So I am conflicted. I am conflicted on dog bod mods.
Yes. I read something interesting. Well, first of all, the tail plays a big role when dogs are swimming to help steer.
Oh.
So dogs that don't have tail need to compensate.
Huh.
Yeah. And then there's the body language of a dog. I read that dogs with docked tails cannot communicate as efficiently as other dogs with full tails to other dogs.
Hmm.
So that lack of signaling on their part sometimes make them more introverted and more aggressive because the dog approaching is lacking, doesn't have that signal.
Yeah. Huh. That's
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Yeah. All
Mm-hmm.
these things like make sense too. I wonder if that's why Gibbs is not a good swimmer.
Could be.
When I'm trying to think back at the Weimaraner videos because I was like, I googled ones, can Weimaraners swim, and there's definitely ones that can and that like the water, but I can't remember if they had tails or not.
But
That,
even like the body shape of a Weimaraner,
oh
it
yeah,
just seems like just wouldn't go well in water.
I know,
It's like a
but
sinking ship.
it is. Gibbs is definitely not an Olympian swimmer. He swim?
No.
Yes, but it's more like I said, it's not graceful at all. It's like he's trying to climb out of the water. Like he's like, "Oh god, oh god, oh god, get me out, get me out." And we'll see what Lou is like. Again, she went for a quick dip there on Easter weekend, falling
Yeah.
through the ice, but I was too excited in the moment to really make a keen observation on her swimming skills, her style. So stay tuned for that. But that's interesting that they use the tail to steer, and it definitely like makes sense. But huh, interesting.
Yeah.
One dog bod mod. So when we talk about dog bod mods, I'm just gonna keep saying dog bod mods. I think I just messed it up, didn't I? dog dog mod bobs.
Bob? Dog
It's
Bob?
like it's like a tongue twister. Dog mod mods. Dog bod mods.
Dog Bod Muds.
Now I totally lost my train of thought. Well, oh yeah, when we were talking about it, you automatically like those I would say that the two most obvious ones are the ears and the tail. Um However, I can remember hearing about this like in Japan, they do debarking, so or
Oh, yeah.
devocalization. So there's that one too. And so I just did like a quick little search on that, and it guess what? It is legal in Canada.
Yeah. I've I've heard dogs bark that had their voice box removed,
And when I first Googled
and it's
it, it
sad.
yes, it is sad. And like I know that they were doing it in like Asian countries where there was large populations such as Japan because they're all like in apartment buildings. And so it was one of the first things that came up when I first googled it is that it was saying that it's usually done out of like legal causes and like from neighbors like suing each other and it's a court ordered thing. So it's either they offer you like euthanasia or like debark your dog,
Oh,
which is like brutal.
that is
And
brutal.
again, that's something that I think could be modified with dog training
Mm-hmm.
or just get like the bark collars. Again, not the citronella ones.
No.
The little zip
Hmm.
zap, the little zip zap or e-collar train them so that they don't bark. But ugh,
That's sad.
I can't imagine like having that surgery done and I'm actually quite surprised to see that that's still legal because that seems like well, I guess it's just as permanent as like the ears and the tail or whatever, but they tend to do that like as puppies, whereas they if it's like you get into a legal battle with your like neighbors and have to like debark like your 2-year-old dog, like that's brutal.
I wonder what the dog thinks. Like, ugh.
Eh,
Eh.
eh.
Going
Ver-
back to the tails, sorry, Heidi.
No, 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 no. Go on.
There's actually some a blah, blah. There's a gene.
A
So,
gene?
There's a gene. That's all I'm gonna say. So there are some natural bobtails,
Oh yes.
and some of them are due to a mutated gene.
Hmm.
So the tail usually grows short or is missing completely. So the breeds that can present, the gene is called, just a second here.
Oh, I can't wait for Vero to pronounce this.
I know, it's kind of funny. A mutation in a gene called the T-box transcription factor T gene C189G.
Oh, okay. I thought it was gonna have like a name.
Accounts for natural bobtails in 21 dog breeds.
So I was gonna ask you, is it specific to certain breeds or is this like a naturally occurring thing that can happen in any dog?
So it's specific to certain breeds. So breeds that can present the C19G mutation, those that are most popular, there's the Australian Shepherd,
Mm.
Australian Pinscher, the Australian Stumpy Tail Cattle Dog, Brazilian Terrier, there's a Doberman, English Shepherd, Jack Russell Terrier, the Pembroke Welsh Corgi, Rottweiler, and then there's more.
So is that
But
saying that they're a natural breed that does this, or are corgis mostly docked at birth, like when you have them too? Like I've never seen a corgi with a tail. Does it exist?
it does.
Really?
It does. So these breeds can present the mutation and be actually born with a
Okay.
natural bobtail. Breeds without the C189G mutation and presenting natural bobtails, Boston Terrier, and
Hmm.
the English Bulldog.
Huh.
Dog breeds into which this C189G mutation has been introduced by crossbreeding. The Boxer. So there was a breeder of Boxer that introduced, I believe, a Corgi that had the mutation into its breed, and then got Boxer Corgi puppies, and then reintroduced the Boxer into the breeding line and created Boxers with natural bobtails.
Wow.
Yeah. So the mutation's been introduced by crossbreeding. So that's the
Yes.
Boxer.
Interesting.
And then there's dog breeds that where natural bobtails have not yet been tested for that mutation.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like the French bulldog.
I can't believe I've never seen a corgi with a tail before. I legit have not until I Googled it just now. I was today years old, folks, when I saw a corgi with a tail. They look like foxes. They look like little
Yeah.
foxy corgs.
So yeah, there's some natural bobtails.
Very interesting.
And there's cats with
Very.
them too,
Oh
which
yeah,
is
that's right,
bizarre.
eh? Yeah, I do find that bizarre. But I find all of it bizarre, and I seriously don't know how I feel about it. I'm so conflicted because I just feel like this shallow like animal abuser for enjoying my docked-tailed dogs.
I don't know, Heidi. I mean, they are cute.
Like here I am, you know, shaming somebody who made their cat look like Pikachu. But Gibbon got his tail cut off when he was just a baby.
But that was not your
Yeah,
doing, right?
I wonder, well, it wasn't my doing. Like, it wasn't by request. They just automatically do it as breeders. I wonder if they get people to request, like, don't do that to my dog. I want the tail.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like I really like Dobermans.
I really like Dobermans. So if you got a Doberman, would you crop the ears?
I don't know.
Because
Doberman.
because they look cute with the flopsy ears too. Like, and I love floppy ears. And if I'm not using a Doberman to guard or protect property, and again, even if I was, like, I know I feel like that's like there's not enough evidence to support that they're going to shred their ears open on fences. Like,
Yeah. I don't think
come
I would
on.
get the ears cropped.
I don't think I would for a Doberman, but is it weird that I would say that I would for a Cane Corso? It is, isn't it? It's weird.
I don't know. Maybe? I don't know. Well, you know what's the softest part of a dog? Their little ears.
I
They're
know,
so
but
like velvety.
I just think like I don't know, like even when you Google like Cane Corso, you get like some with ears and some without. I
They're
think it's
cute with the ears.
the Cane Corsos.
Yeah.
I think they're cute with the ears, but for me, maybe it's because of my Weimaraners. It's like I feel like their ears should be bigger. I feel like it's like they got somebody else's ears put on their head by accident. Like it should be to proportion to their head. They've got like these monster heads and then these like tiny little flopsy ears.
Oh,
So I find it more suited like with the cropped ears, but like now having this discussion again, I'm a shallow I'm a
I
shallow
think they're
dog owner
cute with
with
the
or without.
floppy ears.
Yeah, like more
Yeah.
cute. Like more cute.
Well, so the cropped ears make them look a little bit more intimidating.
Yeah.
I find the floppy ears are like
See,
friendly
what is it?
nature.
I agree with you that when people like look at a cropped ear dog, like people find Dobermans super intimidating. And again, is that because of like, social media, like or pop culture or whatever? Like that typical scene where it's like you come onto a property and it's either a German Shepherd or a Doberman, where you're just like come around the corner and then people have to like run away from them. You know the scenes in movies that I'm talking about
Yep.
where there's like a real intimidating dog and it's either like a super aggressive barking G Shep that's like rah, 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 and like drool coming out, or it's like two Dobermans that like are in the night and they come around the corner and you just see their silhouettes and like people are like terrified. But So I agree with you that like most people when they look at like when I was looking at Cane Corsos and showing people, I'm like, yeah, this is the dog I want to get. They're like, oh my god, it's gonna scare everybody. That's like an intimidating dog. Like they were so freaked out by it. But then like so like is it the ear shape? But then like you look at German shepherds and people I find them a little bit less intimidating. It just depends on your experience with dogs, I guess. So is it the shape of the ears? But I know that people find Dobermans with cropped ears definitely intimidating.
Yeah, but I think they're actually very nice dogs.
They are. They're smart. They're smart.
They're smart. I saw one at Bruce Pit and I was like, hmm, hmm,
Hmm.
hmm.
It's
um,
but again, like if you look at a photo of like the Weimaraner with cropped ears, it just looks ridiculous. But that's me, a Weimaraner owner. If somebody never even saw a Weimaraner or knew what they were, they would
they might
probably be
not
like,
even,
they might think maybe it's an intimidating looking dog with those cropped ears.
yeah,
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Anyways, all that to say, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be open and honest when I say I think that I'm okay with some of the dog bod mods and not okay with others.
yeah,
I would never pierce my dog,
no.
but I would cut off his tail. That sounds so horrible. And depending on his breed,
It's
I'd
like
cut off his
silence.
ears too. I know it's total silence. But I would never debark my dog.
No,
I
no.
don't. But is that worse than any of the other things we've
I
mentioned?
draw the
I would.
line at debarking.
Oh, I feel like a horrible person after this episode. I do. I do.
Well, we
Heidi's
can
and
play a quick episode of a boop or snoot.
oh yes, a quick game of the Booper Snoot. I forgot about this. Okay,
Yes. So this game called a boop or snoot. Heidi and I pick a product, we describe it, and then we either decide boop, like yes, we like this product, we approve, or snoot, we turn our snoot up,
we
as
turn our
in
snoots up to it.
yeah.
Mm-mm.
So the product of today, it's actually very cute, is the doggy carrot patch. You can actually see it on Instagram with the handle Carrot Patch Official. So what it is, it looks like this big plush square with holes in it, and then there's plush carrots that you stick them into the holes, and the dog has to pull the carrots out. It's actually very cute. And it's a little dog that's playing with this. So I think it's cute for a little dog.
That's what I was gonna say. It looks
Yeah.
like a very appropriate like puppy toy.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would get that for my Gibbs and Lou, although they might love it. They love their stuff. They love their stuffies,
Mhm.
but they're gonna like destroy the carrots, and then I'm just gonna have a big square thing with empty holes.
Yeah. I agree. I'm going to boop for puppies and smaller breeds, but snoot for the larger breeds.
I'm I agree with that, but also I think it needs a toy bod mod. If they modified the carrots to be a little bit more sustainable, like some of the more tougher chew toys,
Yeah.
I think that would make it better.
Yeah.
We should contact them and say
Like
you need a bod mod.
like Kong material carrots.
Yes, yes, exactly. That would
Yeah.
be awesome. Like, yes,
Cuz I
agree.
remember Ralph had these little chicken legs
Hmm.
and he just loved them. And then
Oh
at some
yeah,
point he destroyed them when he got bigger, but
yeah.
that was like his favorite toy.
Oh,
So he would have loved the little carrots.
so I agree with you. Boop to puppy toy, snoot to adult breed, but boop if they made a mod to tougher carrots and the carrot patch.
Yes. And I think that's all for today.
That brings us to the end of today's episode of Les
Uh,
Boop Snoots.
Join us next week.
Bye.
Bye. Boop.
Boop.